All right, guys, I'm going to make a video here on the time and price template, just so that there's a lot of new people that have just started to find us. And I wanted to go over the time and price template and how to utilize it and what some of the key features are of it. But I'm going to try and make it relatively quick. I don't want this. I mean, I could talk about this time and price template and how to use it for an hour, and I could show you specifics. But I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, um, just for time's sake and because attention spans have a tendency of depleting over time. And here I am babbling. Anyway, this is the time and price template, and this is for the ES. This is for today, the 27th of September, 2016. And these shorter levels right here that I have labeled swing, well, that's exactly what they are. Those are swing levels that are based on time and price. So anything you see with an S by it is a swing level. The purple line here is the major level for the day. This is the other major level for the day, and there'd be one down further. This is the major 2 level right here. That's why it's labeled major 2. So I want you to notice also these dotted blue lines. Those are the time windows. That's when one time window ends and another begins. So, first things first. Tell me if you notice something when we get near a time window. What ends up happening? We get a major move. Major move right here. Major move that, it kind of chopped around here. Major move here. Ultimately a major move here. Major move here. And a move lower here. This is why those time windows are key. This is a period of time where you really need to be honing in on the lines. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. I want you to notice something. Typically, I go about 15 minutes before or after a timeline. Okay? Actually, 13 minutes, but I'm going to round it off so it keeps it simple. So I want you to notice something. What you need to do is you need to start looking either 15 minutes before or 15 minutes after we enter into a new time window. And pay attention specifically to the lines in those areas. This was your major 2 line, right? And we touched it, and then the new time window began, and we kind of chopped around, and then we took off. This is a huge setup right here. This took a little more patience, but if you notice, we've got 2 lines here for the majors. And we're in that time window of 13 minutes. So you're looking for before and after that time window. And when you're up against a major line like that, a major time and price line, you know something's going to end up happening. So we started to get near the end of this time window, right? We came up and we touched it, couldn't break through it, and ultimately we collapsed back down to this major level, which is basically where it ended up stopping. So once again here, right? We're in that area. We're very close to the major 2. We end up breaking up back through it, but ultimately we end up collapsing. So you have to be aware of these time windows and these swing and major levels in that particular vicinity. You had another situation here, right? You're in that 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after. Ultimately, you broke to the downside. So if you get nothing else out of this video, understand that the beginning and the end of these time windows is a key time of the day to be watching the markets or watching that particular market that you've got the template set up on. Understand also that I can make these templates 50 years into the future if I want. So that's huge. And these levels throughout the day will be, I mean, you can see, for example, today, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 times we hit that major and could not break it. Well, what does that tell you right off the bat? Common sense, what does that tell you? Even if you don't know anything about markets, what does that tell you? That tells you it's weak. If you're brushing up against that major that many times and you can't break it, you know what's going to be right around the corner. And ultimately, that's what ended up happening. We had a situation here where we did break through the major 2, but then we just chopped around. Absolutely no follow through. Maybe a point of follow through, right? So ultimately, we ended up breaking back down through it. Now here's a really nice setup. This was a nice setup here if you waited for the retest, right? Well, here's your retest here on this one. Here's a retest here on this one. The ideal way to use these is to not automatically jump in when you hit them and retreat. It's to wait for a retest. And then, if it fails, if you don't go through that, or you go through it a little bit, and then you break down back down below it, you have a very high probability trade on its way. A high probability that it's going to go in the opposite direction, that it either broke above or below that specific level. So to me, when I first discovered these, which a long time ago, I mean, I studied Gann for years and years. I was 18 years old when I started doing this stuff. So, I mean, I studied this stuff night and day. And just a little heads up, if you decide to study Gann, you need to understand something. All of his writings are veiled. Now, what I mean by that is he doesn't spell it out in black and white. You have to interpret what it is exactly that he's telling you. He is not going to take all of his work and put it out on a silver platter for somebody. He made you work for it. So these templates are a lifetime of work, my own work, but based on the principles of Gann. And without his guidance and without his incredible insight, these would have never occurred. But enough of the biography. So what you see up here is basically all of my work that I've done in the markets in a chart. And you can apply these templates to any market. So that's the other nice thing. Oh, another thing, I get a lot of questions too about the periodicity of my charts. 2 minutes. Each one of these bars is 2 minutes. So I trade off on my day trading stuff. I trade off a 2 minute regular bar chart, and I use, as you know, the footprint, the delta profile, and I use point and figure for that. But this is a 2 minute chart. But getting back to my point, the best setups you can get off these lines is when you come back to them and you cannot break them, or you come a little bit above them, then break back down below, and then you get a retest. You got to be salivating on that one right there. You break above it and you can't do anything, and then you come back right to it, and then you basically can't get through it. You went through it by a tick, and then you came back below it. You know what's coming, period. And that to me is the best way to begin to use these lines. Now, I use them in a more advanced fashion, but I created the damn thing. So I know basically all of the nuances of what they do. But from an elementary standpoint, In order to utilize these things in the very beginning, the best way to do it is to look for a test of the line and then a retest of that line. That will increase your probability immensely. So just to recap, because I don't want this video to go too long, we've got these swing areas right here, and they'll be marked by S's. And then we've got a major 1 and a major 2 level. Now, I do have a second set of swing levels that I use, but I don't want to put too many lines on here because I'm trying to make this as elementary as possible, and I don't want to confuse the daylights out of you. But what I would suggest is, for these templates in the beginning, use them in a fashion that's high probability. And I know a lot of times it's difficult when you're trading to sit on your hands and not take a trade. And that will ultimately end up crushing you in this business. If you continue to have that behavior and you overtrade because you're chomping at the bit to get in and blah, 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 for whatever reason, the best thing you can do for yourself, especially if you're just starting out, even if you've been doing this for 10 years and you've lost, is be selective. Don't think that you need to jump on every little wiggle in the market. There's going to be thousands upon thousands of other opportunities in the future. This one that is being presented to you right now is but one in many thousands is going to come your way. So if you miss it, who cares? You've got another 10,000 that are be coming down the road. So don't overtrade. Number 2, make sure that your account is properly capitalized. If you go into this with like $5,000, you're going to lose. If you go into this with $10,000, you're going to lose. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. I know they want to have the rags to riches, but you need to be sufficiently capitalized, depending on, what it is that you're trading. But I mean, if you're going to trade the E-mini, or you're going to trade oil, or you're going to trade bonds, you need at least $25,000, all right, to start out with. And mark my words, if you start with $5,000, or you start with $10,000, or you start with $15,000, you might do well at first, but I'm telling you right now, you're going to give it all away, because that is the number one killer of traders that are just starting out, is undercapitalization. It's not cutting your losses short. It's not letting your profits run. It is undercapitalization. So please, if for no other reason than your own sanity, if you don't have enough to begin trading, then put it off until you do have enough. Continue to save, but build up another stake until you are capitalized enough. All right, enough of that preaching. So this is the basic time and price template for the ES. And like I said, the best way really that you can utilize it is to look for retests on these lines. Like this is a retest right here, right? We came down to this swing level, came down, retested, and then took off. So that is the best way that you can use these in the beginning. Through time, you'll learn all different ways that you can use them. But for your own well-being, that is my suggestion to you, is only trade these on a retest. And maybe you have a day where you don't have one single trade. So what? Who cares? Like I said, you've got 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 opportunities down the road. Because you go a day without trading because you didn't have a setup, who cares? You'll have setups tomorrow and the next day. And maybe not the next day, but then the next day. You might have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. So keep that in mind. All right, this is almost 15 minutes long, so I'm going to cut it right there. And I'll go more in depth on these for you guys. But, for you newer guys who are just starting to come to the Facebook page, and I will eventually have a regular website and so on and so forth. I'm just a little strapped for time with my trading and hanging out with my grandson and stuff like that. But it will ultimately come, and I might even start like a little trading room to where you can see my charts and stuff like that and actually watch me trade. But if you're new to the Facebook page, hang out. Make sure you read every single post that's in there. Make sure you watch every single video that's in there. I don't care if you think it's mundane. It is necessary. And if you're going to have to do the work in order to get the reward. This isn't something that you can just buy some computer program that gives you buy and sell signals with a red bar or a green bar and think that you're going to make it. You're not. And I'm not saying that to discourage anybody. I'm telling you this because it's reality. I blew up 3 times when I was younger. I mean, I started this when I was 18. I mean, I blew 3 accounts up. And each account that I blew up, I learned from. So ultimately, through time, I really didn't get profitable till I was about 24. So I spent 6 years being unprofitable and having to build up new stakes. But I learned every single time from those mistakes that I made. And ultimately, I became exceptionally profitable. And you're getting kind of a shortcut here because you're not going to make the same mistakes that I made because I'm not going to let you. It's a hard road, but I'm telling you, it's well worth it. To me, it's fascinating. And, just go with it, man. All right, guys and gals, I will talk to you on the next video. I hope this was somewhat educational to you, and it helped you see things in a different light. But I want to stress one more time before I end this video. Undercapitalized accounts will get destroyed. All right? And I know you guys don't want to hear it, but it's just the nature of the beast. All right, later.